Hello, Okon. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, Yousra.
Thank you so much. And I'm really very honored to have you today with me as a speaker in the Ikigai and Kaizen podcast. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you on your new position as our TESOL International Association President-elect. Congrats, Okon.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Honored, and it's a victory to all of us in Africa. We were so happy and celebrating with you. So I guess this podcast itself is part of the celebration. So congrats again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. So
Yeah.
I've always wanted to talk to you, Okon, and I was waiting for the right opportunity, and I guess this one is one of the best. It's like you've been always an exemplary leader in our profession in the field. And I've been following you, not stalking, but following what you do on social media. I'm impressed, and you're a role model for whatever you do to the community of teachers in Africa. And so glad to have you, Okan, today.
It's my pleasure, Yousra. Now you have me. I'm so pleased to hear all the nice things you've said about me, but it's a pleasure, and it's very rewarding to be serving the teachers in Africa. And now that I've moved on to the global stage, I'm hoping that I'll be able to replicate what I've done for teachers in Africa to teachers all over the world. Thank
Um,
you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to introduce you the conventional way, Okan, but I will let our audience today discover some aspects of yourself that maybe they know and other aspects they don't know about you. So this podcast will be an opportunity to know more about Okan, a few things that nobody knows about you. So welcome again.
Thank you.
So I'll explain a little bit the concept of the podcast, so to whoever is might be listening to us or maybe watching the podcast, because this podcast comes in two versions, audio and video. So to make it accessible to everybody who would like to listen to this. So the title of the podcast is called Ikigai and Kaizen. Both of them are Japanese words, but people can ask questions, what does it have to do, a Japanese word, using it for a podcast in English for a teacher who's based in Tunis. What is this? It's shakshuka, like we say in Arabic. It's like something, a mix of my personality and as a global citizen. And Ikigai means the purpose of life. Many, if not. So there's not one purpose to life. Everybody, you might have one purpose as well as you can have many. And Kaizen means continuous improvement. As a lifelong learner, I see myself as continuously improving. And the podcast attracts kind of same energy, same people that work on really improving themselves as well as people around them. So that's why, Okan, you are, an honored guest in this podcast. And thanks again.
Thank you.
So, Okan, I will start a little bit by talking about Okan, the teacher. Okay, we'll discover different facets of your personality according to what you agree to reveal to us. So we'll start, Okan, by going a little bit into the past, a younger self of yourself. And when was that aha moment? You said, this is it. I wanted to be a teacher. Do you remember that moment?
I would say no, I didn't have that aha moment because as a young child growing up, I had a different dream.
Yeah.
My mother was a primary school teacher, so I did not dream to become a teacher. And in my primary school days, I really didn't have any ambition in terms of what I would like to be in the future because then every parent wanted the child to be a doctor, an engineer, a lawyer. It didn't quite, it didn't click with me at all. So I wanted to discover myself. So primary school was in a rural community, so there wasn't much exposure to guidance and counseling. And then I had the good fortune of going to the best school in my state. Right from the village, I was the first person in my village to ever go to that school. It's called Hobodel Training Institute in Calabar. And while there, I was in the midst of what I say, rich kids, people from the upper class, and I was from a village. So I then thought, I want to become an accountant. I didn't know what instigated me. I just said, I want to be an accountant. Not because I like to count money or to like money, but it was just something that sounded nice to my ear, an accountant. Because there was a firm of accountants in the city where I was. And when I saw those people dressed up like that, and I just thought, I want to be like this. So my dream was to be an accountant. Up to my year 4 in secondary school, I was doing great and still pursuing that dream. And then by year 5, I derailed, peer pressure, doing silly things. So I lost that momentum. And by the time I finished secondary school, I did not have the required credits to study accountancy because you needed a credit in mathematics. So that's how I lost out on that dream. And I then went to College of Education where they only required 3 credit paths. I had 5 without mathematics. So I went to College of Education and I read this book called Biology by Kimball. I was studying education, biology, chemistry. So in that book called Biology, the author is Kimball. I saw a paragraph about genetic engineering. And that kind of thought, I want to be a genetic engineer. This was 1979. And then I did everything possible between 1979 up to the moment, you'll still hear my story later, to pursue that dream. So I finished my NC, we call it NCA, teacher qualification, 3 years. I went to university. I took on additional courses in botany to qualify for a master's in genetics. And then I went on to do a master's in genetics. And then I went on to pursue a Ph.D. in genetics.
Wow.
Then I had the good fortune of going to England to do my research as a research visitor because we did not have the facilities in Nigeria for genetic engineering. And just as I was a few months, 6 months to completing my PhD, my research, and I needed to just write up. Something happened in my personal life, and I walked away. I walked away from the PhD. I walked away from that dream. This was in 1996. You can imagine that dream from 1979 to 1996, pursuing that pathway, chasing my dream. Just when you thought it's right there for you to grab, it evaporated.
Oh my God.
That changed my life, which is why now I just take things so easy. I don't fret over things because you can have ambitions, you can have wishes, you don't know whether you're going to reach that. What is key to me is, as long as you're alive, there is hope.
Yes.
So you see where I'm coming from now, from wanting to be an accountant to switching to science, genetics, and then finding myself in the classroom as an English teacher. So
first, kudos for this. You know, it's called willpower. It's called really being optimistic, hopeful. And what you did actually, Okon, gives me a lesson in the sense I'm someone, you know, like you said, I let go of control, you know, when I can't control things and I cannot control things. So the only thing I can control is myself. And ambitions, sometimes you can plan for something, but destiny makes that other things happen instead. While going through your journey, you discovered other things like you did. You went for genetics, and now you're in the English field. And myself included, you know, I remember myself being a major in mathematics, you know, in my baccalaureate degree. And then for me, it was a choice to study English because I liked, being in an English language classroom. It was a teacher who made me love English. And starting from that moment, you know, I found myself really excelling at this. So just to say, Okon, it's like not everything, not every time, the thing you think about, you know, and you make it like the only option. Sometimes you don't see the other options. And here you are, leading many teachers with you in the field. And so how did you come across the profession, let's say English? When was it exactly, Okon?
All this happening in England because just like I said about how I walked away from genetics
Yeah.
because of the relationship I had with a woman that ruined my life. I was depressed. I almost committed suicide a few times. So when I walked away from that, I went into a special needs school. I was still looking for a job. So I saw a school, the London school. I walked in there, pressed the doorbell. The principal came out and said, "How may I help you?" I said, "I want a job." He said, "So what can you teach?" I said, "I can teach physics, chemistry, biology. I'm a science teacher." He said, "Come in. Tomorrow, come and see the classroom like a demo lesson." So I went home and I prepared. I actually prepared lessons to teach chemistry and biology, thinking I was coming to face students that can teach chemistry or biology. So when I came in, I was shocked that the students are severely autistic, the extreme end of autistic spectrum disorder, severely autistic, only 6 children in a classroom. So there was really nothing to teach. These are not the people you could teach. They had no communication, no speech ability.
They needed
And then I reflected on my life, how I wanted to take my life, how I could have killed myself because of relationship.
Sorry.
And then I looked at these individuals. Then I told myself, you're a very lucky person. Look at you, 2 feet, 2 hands, brain, eyes, ears. And these are human beings too, that don't have the quality of life you have. And I said, here, this is where I belong. And I told myself, I'm going to stay here until I die. I'm going to work with these individuals until I die. So I was in that school for 8 years, supporting these learners. And then, by twist of fate, a Japanese lady came visiting. She was a professor of medicine and specializing in special education, autism, came to visit the school. And then we got talking, we became friends, we became lovers, and then we got married.
Oh no! I was not
So,
waiting for this plot twist.
you see, you see things. So it kind of canceled out my disappointment with the previous relationship, how this one wanted to kill me. And then it turned out that the choice was either she comes over to England or I go to Japan.
Okay.
And so on my first visit to Japan, I just fell in love with the country. I said, whoa, I like this place.
It is.
And I chose to go to Japan.
Oh my God.
I'm armed with all these qualifications. I have a master's in genetics. And then while in England, I did another master's. I didn't write the thesis, so I got a postgraduate certificate in management and information technology. And then that accountancy that I failed to achieve that dream, I enrolled with the ACCA. I wanted to still become an accountant, so I was taking professional course. I passed the foundation level. So I then went to Japan with all these qualifications, thinking I'll be good.
Bravo.
I'm getting to Japan. I realized there was no English in Japan. And the only way I could survive was to teach English, to be an English teacher. I was unemployable with all these qualifications because I couldn't speak the language. There was no way I could teach biology or chemistry or anything. So I went into an agency and they sent me to a kindergarten. They said, let me send you to a kindergarten, like babies, like a nanny.
Yeah.
Singing Oh McDonald's,
yeah, yo.
yeah. Can you believe it? I was telling myself, can you imagine? I was a university lecturer in Nigeria teaching genetics to students.
Yes.
And here I am in Japan doing changing nappies and all that.
Why not? I'm open to this, It's cool, isn't it?
It was a job. It was a job. I didn't want to stay home. I didn't want to be a house husband, so it was a job. So from then, I was posted to a secondary school. And then as an assistant English, the language, they call it ALTA, assistant language teacher. or assistant AET, so assistant English teacher, co-teaching in class. And I knew this is now my new vista, cannot use all my qualifications. I need to grow in this profession.
Yes.
I went online and I saw Anaheim University. I enrolled for a master's in TESOL. I was fortunate to meet some wonderful professors like Rod Ellis, David Noonan, Kathy Baylis. Those were my professors. So I finished the MA in TESOL, hoping I could now get into the university system in Japan. A few years in secondary school, I did 2 years in secondary school. I actually went to one private secondary school called recipient Secondary School, where I taught computer science, physics, home economics, and chemistry. And then I went on to get part-time jobs in Southampton University, Kokagan University, but I needed full-time job. Then they said, if you have a PhD, you can get a full-time job. Good. I came back to England and I did a PhD in applied linguistics. And then I kept applying to universities in Japan. There was no full-time job. Then I applied to Qatar, and Qatar offered me a job. So yeah, I'm in Qatar since 2012. So you can see the transition from, so I didn't really mean to be an English teacher. I just found myself in the world of English teaching. And then I've been able to do what I've been able to do so far, which I think I'm just happy with what I'm doing. And I keep doing what I'm doing. See my journey. I like this podcast, Yousra, because it said people will discover who I am, things they haven't heard before. So I'm here to talk freely. I don't have secrets. I'll just talk as freely as possible.
Please do. And I really enjoyed listening to you and the way you convey it, you know, all the passion, all the happiness. You should see yourself later on and watch how how happy you are going from milestone to milestone. And honestly, Okon, kudos for that willpower, for not giving up, on your dreams. It's not only one, and for making it to the present moment, to the present situation which you are. Even with those, ups and downs sometimes, we call them lessons. And were it not for those lessons, we are not the same people we are now today. And I was happy hearing that you were teaching KG because you went through all levels, next on my to-do list, because that's what I do with my cousins, young, daughters and kids, and they bring them to the house and say, Yousra, take care of them. So I'm just, playing, drawing, singing. We do everything like needs to be done. I was Mary Poppins most of the time, so I was like wearing dress and hats and doing amazing and stuff and having fun. So but who knows, I think Okon, being a teacher, that's what I think as a teacher, it's like I've touched here and there all through the profession. It's not like I stick to one level and not other levels. So I've been through all of them. So and you've been through all of them yourself, and I was not expecting that Japan twist, from being depressive about who gets depressive from a previous lover? No one. Thinking about this again. But it was at that time, I understand that so much. But look how you managed to kind of get beyond that, and get into the actual. Is it still your wife, Okon? No. Oh no.
No, we'll talk more. We have the podcast. We'll talk more. I've told you no secrets. I have no secrets. I'll talk freely. No problems at all.
Okay.
The relationship ended simply because when I came to Qatar, I asked her to come over, and she insisted I came back to Japan, and I said, no, we had a deal. At least I came over for 5 years or maybe 8 years. So it's your turn to at least, reciprocate. Yeah, reciprocate. So we kind of parted ways amicably. We still stay in touch. We are good friends. So no hard feelings.
Yeah. Respect is due, of course, for the years you spent together. Yeah.
And Yousra, let me come in there. I had a very nasty experience on my first day in secondary school in Japan. My first day in the ELT world. Welcome to the ELT world.
Yeah.
I was posted to a secondary school, and I walked in. I greeted the the principal, very polite. The Japanese are very polite, He sent for the head of English department to come and receive me because he doesn't speak English. The agency staff that took me there, as soon as the woman came in, I stood up and said, good morning, ma'am. She said, who sent you here? She did not acknowledge my greeting. Who sent you here? Where are you from? I said, Nigeria. We don't want Nigerians here. We've always had Australians. So she turned around to the agency lady and berated her. Why did you bring this person here? Didn't you have an Australian you could send to this school? Why did you send an African, black person here? I went to him and cried. He said, you know African culture, men don't cry. I went to him and cried. My wife then consoled me and told me, Okon, don't worry. One day you're going to be very famous. So when I won the presidency, I reached out to her and I said, Hiromi, I'm now the president-elect of TESOL International. Remember what you told me in 2005, 19 years ago, that one day I'm going to be famous. It has come to pass. See how life is? I just wanted to mention that because this life, you never know.
Yeah.
Failure is part of success. And when people think they're pushing you down, they're actually putting the wind in your sail to soar, to sail, to fly.
Exactly. They're fueling success in you. I'll tell you something else, about approximately the same thing, because maybe being a non-native speaker is not really something that can be helpful sometimes in our profession. Still, sometimes nowadays, until this moment, some job offers, they do have the requirements requesting that it should be someone who's native, not naturalized. Even they're adding this. It's like it should be someone who's a native speaker, not naturalized, born and raised in that particular region of the world. Forgetting about that, we do have qualifications to be teachers. And so it sets us normally equal. But I hope the mindset will change in the future. So ourselves, we don't apply that to others. So we expect that others are welcoming to us. Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to add something? Sorry, to me. Yeah.
No, just say the field is working hard and tending towards that, but the practice still takes place in some regions of the world. And when it comes to like in the private sector, like in Japan, the jukus, I can understand that parents may want a British, American, Canadian, Australian, or white South African to be the teacher, to role model.
Yeah.
Because that is a business. But in public schools, I was lucky that I lived in Kyoto for 5 years. Believe me, I couldn't get a job in Kyoto. I could not get a job in Kyoto. I lived in Kyoto for 5 years. I had a job in Ise, Mie Prefecture, and then another place, Shiga Prefecture. I had to be driving Osaka. I had to be driving out or by train to those places because Kyoto is more conservative compared to other parts of Japan.
Yeah.
So the man in the school board in Osaka was liberal. He wanted to expose the learners to other cultures. So he was happy to have African, Indian, Sri Lankans. So they had teachers from different countries of the world because he wanted the children to be exposed to other cultures.
Yes.
So that's how I got started. So what you just said now is very important in our field. And I think eventually that shift is gradual. It might take a while because there are more people now in the world speaking English than those whose first language is English.
Yes.
So ultimately, that shift will be gradual, but it will come to pass one day.
Yeah.
People will now look at your personality, your qualifications, and what you can bring to the classroom.
Yes.
Not because you are white or you are from this place.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yes. And I've seen many colleagues, making research, especially colleagues who are expats or immigrants in some parts of the world, on how English is being taught all through cultures, myself included. Now I am going into a PhD research, inshallah, soon, into studying how English is being taught in different cultures and how, this cognition is different from one culture to the other. For instance, let's say a textbook. is made and created in one side of the world. It does not necessarily can be valid to be taught, for instance, in our region, because it does not sometimes reflect the same cultural aspects. So what I'm now maybe seeking into creating more of materials, let's say, culturally relevant to teachers, for instance, in Africa, to students in Africa, students in Asia, students in South America. So we're global still, but sometimes it's good to take into consideration, teaching a text about a celebration. We do it in our countries, in some of. And most of us, where we're just, global citizens, it's good, like others knowing more about our culture. Why not?
Correct. I remember a song when I was in primary school. We used to, cuckoo sat on a bird and sang, summer is coming. Summer. We don't have summer in Nigeria. We have rainy season and dry season. And they were teaching us to be singing about summer. Summer, we don't know summer, winter, spring, or fall. So this is exactly what you are saying. When they bring this foreign culture to a context that is inappropriate. But hopefully things are changing.
Yeah.
Things are changing. We just need the policy maker, the people in the ministry, the policy making bodies to implement these steps to get us going to where we want to go. Yeah.
Yes, I wanted to mention something interesting. I noticed in Africa ELTA because Okon, you are among, if not you are among the founding members, and let's say the people who were who had the idea of creating Africa ELTA, previously called Africa TESOL. And what I like about Africa ELTA is there is a project called OER. I think it's related to open educational resources. And I think it's open to teachers creating their own resources. So teachers from Africa creating materials to students in Africa. So please correct me if I'm wrong on this project.
You're correct. And Shadia Mansour is deeply involved in that project. At first, I want to correct you.
Yes.
I am the sole founder of Africa ELTA.
Yes.
It wasn't like a team. I dreamt about it. I can tell you the story differently. Yes. I am the founder of Africa ELTA because when I went to the first TESOL convention in 2010, Africa had only 4 affiliates, and I was very unhappy. I wrote an angry email to the TESOL president then, Brock Brady. Luckily, he responded. If he did not respond to that email, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. I sent him a private message to say, thank you for responding to that email in 2010. He responded, and I thought, I need to get involved. Let me understand how TESOL International works, and we'll be able to bring Africa into the mainstream. If I cannot bring Africa into the mainstream, then I can always do something for Africa. So the Africa TESOL concept I conceptualized it, and Dina Bore was the president of TESOL then. I discussed with her, and she said, go for it. And then the way to get it off the ground, then my good friend Amina Sheikh provided a platform in Sudan for us to launch the first conference in 2016. So instead of the usual TESOL Sudan convention, we then called it Africa TESOL First Conference. That's how Africa TESOL started. And from then on, Amina and I have been working together. Then Harry joined us a few years later, and the 3 of us are advisors. So I'm the founder of Africa ELTA.
Thanks. I remember the story you told you and Ayman with the CPGPLN, I think, webinar. You talked about this and attending the convention in 2010 and noticing that only 4 countries are being represented from Africa. And thank you, Ayman. And thank you. I'm sorry, Ayman. I'm talking about Ayman. Thank you, Okon.
No, thank you, Ayman, for giving me the platform.
Thank you, Okon, for really having the idea of creating the association, because it brought a lot of friends together, a lot of people together. And Africa ELTA, by the way, has won the ELTons, I suppose I'm pronouncing it right, the prize from the
British Council ELTons Award.
Award.
At the corporate level. Then I won at the individual level.
At the community level. Yes, it was for the E program, was it?
Yeah, it's British Council ELTons Award for Outstanding Achievement.
Yes.
So Africa ELTA won as a corporate winner.
Huh?
Then I won as an individual winner for creating Africa ELTA.
I did not know about this. I only knew about Eve. You're an award winner. Please, some of your energy, please, Okon.
You said this podcast is going to reveal things that people don't know. So now I'm saying
Thank you. It is.
Yeah.
It is. Thanks for sharing, actually. And what else? I'm surprised. I'm trying to process all of those, good news about Africa ELTA. And by the way, I'm so proud of this association, because I think it's going to lead Africa far, far, far away in the world of ELT. And it is already doing it. It is already doing it. And I'll tell you a secret about the WhatsApp group of Africa ELTA. It's actually a non-stop 24 hours,
I can't keep up. I can't keep up with the tons of webinars and information. I just can't keep up. Every day, 2, 3 webinars. And this was the dream. This was the vision, because when we started, it was a challenge for people to use Zoom, to join Zoom, because of data issues. But now it's just standard practice. You see 70, 80 attendees at a Zoom webinar by an affiliate, which is great. Even some of the big ones, when they have Zoom webinar, you don't get up to 30 people, sometimes 20.
Yeah.
So it's great. This is something we can't even keep up with now. And it's so vibrant.
It is.
5,000 members in 94 countries. It's amazing.
I'll tell you a secret, Okon. It's like I just leave, the WhatsApp group with, 100 notifications. For instance, I just go to do something else and I'm back and I found 300 ones. It's like the busiest. It's like a beehive, Everybody's busy, everybody's sharing, without expectations, without, no limits. It's like they're not keeping anything for themselves. Even if someone hears about something happening in a place of the world, it's being shared. It's being welcomed.
Absolutely.
And I hope that I'll be, it was not meant to be done, because Amira Salama, say hi to Amira as well, because she mentored me before for the CPD-PLN. Amira suggested a position to me at that time, and I was active in another association, so I could not keep up, not because of the conflict of interest, but it was too much if I can, not keep up, being a social media manager at that time, or coordinator or something. But who knows, I might be, I'm welcome, I'm open towards, welcome any opportunities. I'm open towards being, active in Africa ELTA, inshallah, in the future, whenever the opportunity is open. Now I'm in the TESOL call, Yeah. So I will start first by contributing in any possible way, whether in a webinar or conference. So inshallah, it will happen.
You will. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Okon. All the pleasure is mine, actually. And that energy. I'll tell you about our energy in Africa ELTA. This is what I like. What I like, Okon, is like teachers, they do really, we have a special energy in Africa, that celebratory one. I still remember once you won.
Yes.
Dancing videos,
Liz said the place was on fire. The Africa ELTA was on fire.
Firework. It's like, and that's what I like, myself included. I have that celebratory energy, and that's where I belong now. It's like I like my friends, and I really wish them the best. And please do not hesitate to let me, Okon, if I can be helpful in any possible way with the association.
You will. You have a lot to offer. You will. Even with your call IS and engagements, you can find a bridge between call IS and Africa ELTA, and then cascade it down. So there'll be a way to help, definitely.
Now we're having speakers. We're almost done with one project with the TESOL call IS. It's called Tech Talks. It's a series of webinars where teachers present their work. But who knows, maybe with other projects, upcoming, something can be revealed, new project will be starting, the mentorship aspect going on. That's what I like about the TESOL International Association, by the way. It's like, that's how I got into this. So because once I joined the TESOL International Association, I was already at an advanced level in my career. I had 13 years at that time. Now I have 17 years of teaching experience. So at that time, Amira told me, you're ready, you have everything done. Why you're seeking to be mentored? So at that particular time, no, I told her, Amira, no, I want to learn how to write a successful conference proposal. I want to know how to present online. At that time, I was just presenting, in person. It's a different process. And I had a podcast, Amira. How can I take this to another level? So we discussed a few things. And Amira at that time, escalated a little bit in ranks in Africa ELTA until reaching the president position. And she was, honestly, to tell the truth, every time she was inviting me, I think she gave up on this. Hello, Amira. Kept on saying, hey, Yousra, come on, join us in this. But I was super busy with other things. But hopefully, Amira is a dear friend. And inshallah, we'll make it happen in a common event, all of us together. So
Absolutely.
thank you, Okon.
Absolutely.
And talking about the projects, Okon, I want to get deeper into the discussion, talking about what kind of, let's say, benefits, what kind of positive outcomes does Africa ELTA provide to teachers in Africa? So I know this very well, but to people who don't know Africa ELTA, what
I
is
think the bottom line is professional development opportunities, access to teaching material where they can use in their different classrooms. And the cascading effect this has, because you have the leaders of the affiliate countries and getting this information, and they go back to their countries and they share it among the chapters among the local zones. So there's this trickling down effect. So whatever it is that is happening at Africa ELTA filters down to the classroom in a rural community somewhere in the East, West, North, or South Africa. So that's the benefit. And then the members of Africa ELTA feel more empowered because of the exposure to what is going on. They feel more empowered. You mentioned information sharing. Opportunities that are coming. Some of them are actually using this information they're getting to develop themselves. You mentioned the tech talk, they call it as
yes, the tech talks, the webinars, yes.
Tech talks, yeah. That was also publicized, and I think that some teachers, I know one that actually said she's taking part, in the so these are the benefits, this information sharing and being able to use this. And then again, individuals that are creative are sharing what they're doing, which can be replicated in other classrooms. And this was my dream in 2010 when I felt Africa wasn't represented at TESOL International, not getting the opportunity to learn and be able to use. Now we're actually using what we have, where we are, to do what we can. So that's a great thing.
It is. It is a great thing. So, Okon, I will tell you something honestly that I would like to thank friends and colleagues in Africa ELTA, especially the ones who attended the last webinar for the coaching one. And that's how we got in touch, I think, at that time, the first time we interacted together. And I really thank wholeheartedly all the colleagues, including yourself, that joined the TESOL Career Path Development Professional Learning Network webinar. And seeing that colleagues were happy about discovering themselves, because that webinar was related to coaching. And all about coaching is maximizing one's potential, maximizing one's outreach. And I was really happy to see colleagues really from Africa ELTA attending, supporting, being there. I am seeing, that coaching part maybe being a project in Africa ELTA, because leadership, I think, goes hand in hand with mentorship, with coaching, so to maximize all that potential. So this is my vision to things. So I want to ask you, Okon, how do you perceive leadership yourself as a leader?
Leadership to me is all about service to others. That's in a nutshell, service to others.
Yeah.
It's not about you being on top of the mountain and shouting down at people.
No,
It's
no.
about giving to humanity. That has
Yes.
always been my passion.
Yeah.
You know, the tenets of Ikigai, there's a passion, mission, vocation, and profession. So
Yeah.
that has always been my passion, giving to humanity.
Uh-huh.
And I will recall when I was much younger, when we used to travel on the Nigerian roads, bad roads, there'll be accidents. I will stop to go and see how I can help the accident victims. My eldest brother is so scared of blood and seeing dead bodies, but that's how I was. I wouldn't just see something happen and then I go as if I can help. So I grew up with this kind of mindset, and I keep thinking about unprivileged individuals. I'm not talking about financially unprivileged,
Yeah.
because unprivileged, you can have privileges in so many things. So the fact that you are deprived of something, you don't have access to something, it
Yes.
means you're not privileged.
Yes.
So if I'm in a position to provide something I know the other person lacks, I think that's the way I see life generally, giving to humanity. So my time, my energy, my effort, 13 years in Qatar University. All my mates are like professors wherever they are, but I spent all these years giving my time to service, which I could have devoted to research, publications, and all that, and rising through the ranks. So leadership is about just providing service to those who need that service. That's
Exactly.
my perception of leadership. Yeah.
Exactly. Okon, and ever since I've been introduced to TESOL and TESOL international associations with affiliates, I've been introduced myself to a different type of leadership, and which is different in other organizations. So as you mentioned, it's not about someone being in an upper position and a rank and giving orders to someone. No, it's not about that. It's like being a role model, first of all, and serving others, making sure that others they're safe, they're getting the best experience they can get. They're not really deprived of anything, so they get access to information. That's the first thing first, and then access to rights, human rights, basic ones.
Yeah. Yes.
And what I like about leadership is like you discover yourself also in the process. It's like if you give more to people, you discover how generous you can be, and even more generous. And what else? Whatever we're doing now in the profession, it's like unconditional
Yes.
respect and love all over the world. And that's what I like about the associations all over the world. It's like a backbone, I see it myself, to a support system to myself. So I have my tasks, I have my job, I do, but what I have as a hobby is like talking to colleagues. So that is
Yeah.
something that also Hind mentioned this a lot of time, because I had Hind also in my podcast. I asked Hind, so what is the second thing you like apart from being a teacher? She told me being at conferences and talking to colleagues and people. So I don't know, Hind Ilyas, Hind, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we worked together at Africa TESOL.
Africa,
Then
yeah.
she was a secretary,
She was a
and
secretary.
so she's also involved at the TESOL. She's in a TESOL leadership pipeline.
She is, definitely
Yeah.
is. So, what connects us all is our love to the profession, and to kind of provide the best experience to our colleagues. So, Okon, I'm going to ask you, if ever, I asked you, how do you perceive leadership? If ever you have to describe leadership as an object, let's say, how would it be? Or maybe a matter, not an object also, but something, how do you perceive leadership?
Wow, that's very abstract
Yes,
question.
kind of so far-fetched, but that is, we'll see through the metaphor, yeah, how you
I
perceive.
think I will say that as a gift.
Oh,
As a gift.
yeah.
Gift. Yes, as a gift. I'm not saying gifted, as
I
a
know,
gift.
I know, I
Yeah,
know,
as a gift.
I
You
know.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So being able to give. So leadership to me is like an object, is a gift.
Oh my God, I've never been
Yeah.
exposed to this definition. I'm really, you know, thanks, Okon, honestly. So I'm going to quote you from now on about this. Leader, it's a gift, and you never know. It's always, I'm speechless. It's like you give your time, you give most of your knowledge, and it's something really
Maybe
very
sometimes your
valuable.
money. Sometimes your money.
It is. It
Yeah.
is. It is.
Into the
It is.
process. Yeah.
It is. It is actually. Thanks for the description, Okan. I was not expecting this, but I made it on purpose to kind of, I was like, I got this improvised question. Should I say it? Should I not?
No, sure. Go
Always
ahead.
impromptu.
You're really bringing it out in me. So that's fine. Go ahead.
It
Don't
is.
hesitate. Yeah.
No, don't. I don't. So the next question, Okan, is linked to now that you are our TESOL elect president, incoming president. I'm going to ask you about maybe future ambitions, goals. Are there any projects that you have in mind that you'd like to put, maybe to implement? Um, what do you see? How do you see Okan now after that experience, being a TESOL president? What goes right after that? So,
Having served on the board of directors, I understand the process.
mhm.
So, being the president doesn't confer any authority on you
I
as a single
know,
person.
I know,
You
Okan.
cannot just wake up and say, I want to do this. There's no such thing.
No.
Everything has to be by consensus. So
Yes.
I have to work with the board.
Yes.
I'm just going to be a board member. So if I have an agenda, I have to share with the board, discuss the merits of that agenda. And if people can buy into that
Yes.
vision, they
Yes.
support it, it
Yeah.
becomes a policy.
Yeah.
So it would be wrong for me to start making promises that I know I cannot fulfill. But like I said in my manifesto, there are two things that are on my agenda. One is to see if we can change the voting cycle so that voting ends during the convention to get more people to vote for their leaders. Because an association with 10,000 plus members, if we can get 7,000 members voting, at least it's more representative, not just maybe 500 or 1,000 members voting to choose their leaders.
Yes.
The other thing was, I don't know if I should call it an oversight, where the convention is always happening during Ramadan. It's something I discussed at the board when I was on the board. And because the conventions are booked like 3-4 years ahead. So up until 2027, it's been booked. Cannot change that. So I'm hoping that maybe discuss with the board. So subsequently, we look at the religious calendar of our Muslim members and see if we can adjust it slightly so they can accommodate them, because you cannot travel from Pakistan, from Dubai, or from Tunisia during Ramadan, fly for 13, 14 hours without food. And then, even during the convention, the energy level is low. You can't really interact and be yourself. People would think you're unfriendly. So if we can adjust that, those are the two things I mentioned. And so it's something I need to present to the board and then see how we can work towards altering that. Those are just like two items I mentioned. But then there's still other areas like widening the leadership pipeline, making it more representative to reflect the international status of TESOL. Like we have members from the Asia, from the Middle East, from let's say the MENA, the South Sahara, Latin America, North America, Europe, Eastern Europe. So we have that kind of representation because as TESOL president, you are president of everybody. You're not going to be a president of a particular segment of the community. So I'll see how we can look for issues. First, identify areas for improvement, and then see the current process and see how we can find solutions to address these areas for improvement. And if they're visible or viable, we try to implement them and see how effective they will be. I know it's not going to be easy
Yeah.
It's not going to be an easy ride, but I will give my very best
Yeah.
to the presidency. Hopefully, at the end of my tenure, I can look back and say, I tried this and it worked. You know, I'm not going to use Africa ELTA as a role model, as an example, because what really worked for Africa ELTA may not really work TESOL International. This is a new challenge altogether, but I'm getting prepared.
I think, Okon, I join you in this, and I noticed that already the board members that are elected, it's like there's Michelle, which was part of the TESOL as well. I think there's another colleague from South America. There's you. I think it's diverse until now, but as you said, as areas of improvement, I call them areas of grow. So there are areas of glow and areas of grow. So at this level, TESOL International Association glows at the level of making it as global as it can be. But what I suggest as a member myself is why not decentralize the convention for people, for instance, who can attend it in person and take it to every year in one different country all over the world. I know this is impossible, but who knows? Who knows what can happen?
That's a good thing. It's not as if TESOL is not aware of this, but for logistics and financial reasons, it's impracticable. In 2015, TESOL went to Canada,
Yes.
Toronto. We had a convention in Toronto and incurred losses. So when you are hosting a convention, if you're not making money, at least you shouldn't lose money, because that's the major source of revenue for TESOL. Apart from membership subscription, is the convention.
Yeah.
So there's no other source of funding. So if we're not making money, but we shouldn't lose money.
Yes.
And then the exhibitors that we have at the TESOL convention may not be willing to travel to Taiwan or to Singapore, you know, to go and exhibit.
Yes.
Because most of them are based in the US. So it's a lot easier for them to
stay there,
exhibit if it's happening in the US. So, and that decentralization, it's something I'm thinking of, to find a definition for that, to decentralize it. So if we are not taking the convention to the different continents, we can have programs. We can have programs that the members in the different continents can benefit from, which is what I was stressing on my agenda, my manifesto, for TESOL's presence to be felt in the different parts of the world. Yeah. So we have to think of a way to make TESOL more relevant and more readily available to members in different parts, who most of the time cannot come to the convention. There has to be a way. So, but it's not something one individual can decide. So we have to brainstorm and see if there's a way we can work with, So work with them, maybe the ISAs, like the call, or the membership council, affiliate council, see what the needs are. I'm going there with very big ears. I want to listen to members, listen to what they want, and then see how it's possible to implement this.
Yeah. So, sure. Yeah. So luckily, Okon, I know the functioning system. I've learned, you know, a little bit step by step. It was not really something obvious from the beginning. So I learned ever since I joined to listen, to observe, to learn from colleagues. I used to attend webinars. Little by little, I was recognized by those webinars in the professional learning networks. And I learned how to even grow even more at the level, you know, of personal development, professional development. So the good thing is the collective leadership in the TESOL International Association and all associations. It's not like someone being authoritative and saying, this is it. This is what I say. We apply it. No one discusses this. No, it does not happen really in our town.
Like no.
It's like collective discussion. We do, and that's what makes it really a welcoming environment.
Yes, absolutely.
That's really, I want to convey a lot of positive things, honestly, about teacher associations, because they're second family, and
oh yes,
I've known so many friends, Okon. Some of them I've never met, And sometimes they're closer to friends there, they live here. So because we share the same interests, we share the same challenges. So it's really inspiring. So Okon, you've shared a lot of things, but still I think and I hope to still to kind of dig more into what people don't know
Go
about
ahead.
Okon.
I'm all yours, Yousra. I'm all yours. Go
No,
ahead.
I've been, through. I don't want you to really be maybe you're not. You're keeping it open, about talking about yourself. But I don't want you to talk about your personal life. But I've mentioned almost, everything that I can mention, all areas. About the Ikigai, I'll tell you something about this, Okan. I've written an article which was published in Japan last year. I've made a research, but to prove that from the colleagues that I interviewed, that Ikigai goes beyond that Venn diagram. It's a word that Japanese people use it to mean something which is not palpable. It's like la raison d'être, the reason of life, being alive. For instance, it can be something you do with your family and that you like that so much, like sipping coffee or tea next to your daughter, next to your wife. That can be your ikigai, your safe space. You get the point? So I'm interested to
Sure.
that part, Okan. So tell me more about what can make Okan happy, Okan the person. So we've talked enough about Okan the leader, Okan the teacher. So if if it's a cloak and you take it off, what is left in Okan's personal life? So how do you spend your day, Okan? Yeah.
I love cooking.
Oh, really?
I enjoy cooking. Before you started the recording, the question was about when we were on that trip. What was the first thing that came to mind when you opened your eyes this morning? I was
Yes.
thinking about, hey, I'm going to make a stir fry salmon, grilled salmon stir fry for my wife and for my little son. Cooking, I love cooking and I find it very relaxing. The process, the combination and everything. I don't rush my cooking. I take my time. I assemble all the ingredients and then systematically go through them, into chopping the onions, the garlic and the ginger, everything, the sizes. And so you see them very symmetrical. And then eventually you start your cooking, a slow process. And then the end product is like, now, like Japanese will say,
Please,
oishi. So
please record this
I find
on
cooking,
camera. You
yeah.
know, I was thinking about an event, Okan, and this is goes beyond teaching. It's like you've reminded me of this. What about representing our countries through food? And Ikigai can be part of this. Why not? Like everybody prepares something, and we even kind of record this on camera because I'll tell you about my experience with African food in general. So I've been exposed to Côte d'Ivoire and Congo. So because I had even students, so they bring things, they cook it, and we used to have a neighbor who prepares, his wife, lives in the country, and he lives in Tunis. He's a consultant here. There was a bank called the BAD. BAD, it's like the Bank of African Development in Tunis. So,
Yes.
I still remember the whole energy, in cooking. And once you mentioned and you were describing this, I still remember the smell of that. So why don't we organize something like a competition, not necessarily with a winning prize, but to
No.
represent our countries and because it's really representative of our cultures, how we do prepare food.
That's a very good idea. I mean, if you came to Cairo during the
Yes.
last conference, you will have seen the cultural ensemble because we had people from all parts of Africa dressed in their
Yes,
in their
yeah, I saw that.
costumes, and it was amazing. So what you've just suggested is possible, even if it can be done virtually. We just
Yeah.
had like a food festival
Yes,
where people just display the
we
food
were.
and maybe
Yes.
yeah, wear traditional dresses, display the food, and maybe a few words to describe what goes into that food, the ingredients, and it's
Yes,
just like a food festival, virtual food festival.
yes.
It's
And
something that
please,
can be done.
please, 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 Okan, for the next, if it's possible, I don't know if it's allowed or not, But in the next Africa ELTA conference, if colleagues can bring some of the traditional costumes, because I'll make sure I attend that, some, ethnic clothes, because I like the colors, but I don't know from where to buy them here in Tunis. I used to have students, they were engineering students, they used to really design that part of their end of year project. And they offered me once a purse. But having, like something we can get like a souvenir from the conference, be it anything, a hat or clothes or anything representative of our different cultures in Africa, because we do not wear the same thing. And instead of presenting at the conference, the corporate style, why not invite all speakers to wear their traditional clothes? So I think you already do it in Africa, I know. It's like we
Yeah, and
encourage
then
more of others doing it.
Cairo was a good example because the first day of the conference, it was a cultural jamboree. And also that you just see these different colors from different parts of Africa. It was such an amazing sight. So what you just said that could be like having, I think we had like a room for cultural exhibition room or something like that. So it's possible to replicate this in Tanzania. And like you said, bring something from your culture.
Yes.
Maybe you can sell for $1. Let's say sell for $1. Yeah, so people can just buy them as souvenirs and take back. Just $1. That's affordable.
Yeah.
Not more than that. So yeah. So I will mention it to the organizing committee or the
Yeah.
conference chairs, and if it gains traction, then maybe they can do that nearer the time. Because right now we don't know who is coming, who is not coming.
Yeah.
It's all based on funding and all that. So when we then know who is coming, those are whose proposals have been accepted, who are sure to come, who have registered to come, we can reach out to them on a personal level. Just bring one small artifact from your country
Yes.
that represents your culture.
Yes.
Maybe
Yes.
2 or 3 items.
Yes.
Nothing huge, nothing massive, just small
Uh,
thing we can
yeah.
exchange. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really up into this, because what I always do is like with my foreign friends, we exchange gifts. It's like I bring something, you bring something, and since instead of just paying, we just exchange that, and it's going to be a
Yeah.
good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, and I really
Yeah.
look forward to seeing this really happening, for real, inshallah. So, Okan, I'm not going to waste your time more than this. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful, wonderful discussion. One of the best, actually. And thanks for your
Thank you very
time.
much.
Thanks for sharing everything related to your persona, to personal life, professional life, Okan. Would you like to add something before we wrap up, please?
Um, Still on what makes me happy. One is cooking. The
Yeah.
second one is dancing.
Oh,
Dancing. Um, yeah, I mean, I like clubbing, night clubbing. So wherever I go to conference, the first question I ask, is there a nightclub in this city? I want to go and dance at night because it gets so busy. So when I dance, I release a lot of energy, and then I wake
Yes.
up in the morning and I feel good. So that's something I love doing too. And I just look for these avenues to unwind. I listen to reggae all the time. I like reggae because I share some values with the Rastafarian movement.
Uh-huh.
I don't believe in they are saying that Haile Selassie is a god or not. But they talk about social justice. They preach peace and love. And that's what I represent, peace and love
You
and
know,
social.
you brought to my mind another idea, Okan. We can add it to cooking. Is like whenever I go, wherever I go, is like we exchange even the different dance styles of our different countries. So we as teachers, we can. I like African dance so much myself. So it's like I teach you maybe in my culture how people dance, and you do the same, and we make it like for as a social event, beyond the conference. Those who do not want to dance, we will understand that, so obviously. So we'll make sure we can add that. So
And then
yeah, maybe
lost
we
you.
can teach each other. There's even a Facebook page about teach me your dance. Teach me how people dance in your country. It's like multicultural, so everybody starts really exchanging that vibe, and So I would love to know more about this for sure.
That's something we can explore. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank
That's
you,
something we
Okon.
can explore. Yeah.
Thank you, Okon. Thanks for
Not a
sharing.
problem. It's been a great pleasure. Yousra being on your podcast, and hopefully I'll come back again.
Thank you so much. Of course, it's always and there's always an open invitation to you whenever you want, Okon. It's like this platform is open to any colleague who would like to share an idea, a project, to simply talk about one's passion in life. And today I had the pleasure of talking to you really beyond the TESOL field, knowing more about what you like to do in life. And thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your energy and for your kindness. That's the word really that I wanted to tell you. Being kind does not cost you anything. You can be,
All right.
a leader with the highest strength in this world, still be humble and kind. That is really something that
Thank you.
I really admire most about you and about TESOL leaders. Thank you so much, Okon. Would you like to add anything before we just wrap up the end?
It's just for to be teachers to be mindful of what they do because they should focus more on making people around them feel very comfortable. Their learners in the classroom feel comfortable to promote learning. And if you're a leader, make your team feel comfortable around you because you do not demand respect, you earn respect. And you do that by displaying the personality that will actually earn you the respect. So those are my few last words.
Oh, thank you
Thank you
so
very
much.
much,
Thank you
sir.
so much. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Okon. And it's a pleasure really to have you. So, to whoever is watching us or maybe listening to us, this is the end of our today's episode from the Ikigai and Kaizen podcast. And it was the fifth episode with our leader, Okon. Effiong Okon. Is it your last name? Is it I
Okon
missed
Effiong. Okon
Ifyang,
Effiong.
yeah,
Okon
I
Effiong.
mispronounced it right your
Effiong.
first name.
It's okay.
So thank you,
Yeah.
Okan. Thank you so much. And I look forward to talking to you in any upcoming opportunity in the future, inshallah. So everybody, please stay safe, stay blessed, and goodbye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.